And we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jack and Brody here from Be Mobile Physiotherapy, whether you're joining us from Facebook or YouTube. Today, we are going to be revealing the one simple trick you can do for better health if you're an adult 55 and over.
Now, as Jack said, we are physiotherapists at Be Mobile Physio, which exists here where we are now on the northern beaches of Sydney. But we also exist all around the world with our exercise programs for people over 55. And we are experts in all things health and fitness for older adults.
Yeah, in fact, we exist in your living room right now, or maybe sitting on the bus or wherever it is. And that's the beauty of the online world, is we can come directly to you.
Now, we're big fans of exercise and big proponents of exercise, but another thing we take a lot of pride and put effort in is educating our audience to give you the tools and empower you to take charge of your own health and life through exercise. And that's what these live segments we occasionally do, as well as lots of the other content on our YouTube channel is all about.
And our Facebook page as well.
Facebook page, giving you the tools. So hopefully you will take something helpful from this video in your health and fitness journey.
For sure. Okay, well, let's get into it. I just want to start by saying, we live in a world flooded by information.
Yeah, we have There's
too much of it.
More access to information than ever before.
And it's so hard to comb through it all, right? And how many videos have you seen where it says one weird trick to cure so-and-so, or one weird trick to fix your back?
Yeah.
All these types of things. We've seen a fair few, and most of them aren't so true.
No, and often at times it's going down a very narrow path of a certain person or guru or whoever they may be, convincing you that this is the one thing you need to do, this one exercise or this one supplement or this one trick. But today we're putting our spin on it. We're telling you what our one simple trick is.
We actually reckon we've got one simple trick.
Yeah, and we think ours is better than anyone else's.
Yeah, but we're not claiming we're gurus. Now, let's just quickly take a look at people who are masters of their domain, okay? Because I think when we want to get better at something, let's just say health and fitness, we always want to look to the people who are doing really well and go, what are they doing? So let's just take some people who are really good at what they do. Michael Jordan. Pretty obvious one. Really good at basketball, if not the best of all time. Brody, he was amazing at the basics. He was obviously good at lots of things, but he was so good at the fundamentals.
Yes, that is one very stark example.
And Jane Austen, you know, a great writer. Not that I've read Wuthering Heights or anything like that. That was one of her books, wasn't it? Wuthering Heights.
You could be right.
What are other books?
I don't know, mate. You put me on the spot here. Asking me
all this God. But Jane Austen, we know she's a prolific novel writer back in whichever century she was living in, maybe the 18th century, 19th century, no, I'm not sure. Either way, those people did the fundamentals incredibly well. So we're going to give it away right now. Our simple trick is to do the basics well, to get your pillars of health in line. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about what we think the 4 pillars of health are, and why if you do this simple trick, following the simple pillars, your health will be in great order.
And it may not be as exciting as the one trick you might have heard before. It may not be as simple as putting turmeric powder in all your meals, because that's going to be the answer to all your health problems or whatever the latest claim is. But the truth is, as Jack said, just getting these basics right is actually what makes a difference for your health and fitness. And it doesn't have to be too complicated. No. So today, as Jack said, the 4 pillars that we think are the keys to getting those basic foundational pillars of good health and wellness.
Okay, well, we are Be Mobile Physiotherapy, and we do a lot of exercise. So exercise is our number 1 pillar. It's not necessarily the most important, but it is our first pillar we're going to be talking about. Now, exercise is so important because it kills a lot of birds with one stone. Yeah,
it does so many wonderful things. It improves our functional capacity, which is just our ability to do basic everyday things in a simple sense. So the strength and fitness to perform the tasks that are required of living a normal life.
Yeah, love that. It also improves your physiological reserve, which is building up your muscle mass and your muscle reserves and your bone density reserves, so that if things do go badly, end up in hospital, you've got more muscle that you can lose before you have to become dependent on someone else. So really important for independence and longevity.
Yeah, it reduces the risk of so many diseases. As Jack said, it improves your muscle mass, your bone density, especially important things as you get older.
Yeah, for sure. Mental and cognitive functioning is really important. Exercise can improve that, but it can also help reduce the risk of neurocognitive diseases like dementia, Parkinson's, things like that.
It's good for your brain health. It's good for your heart health, your breathing, just about everything. And we're sure you've heard all of these or most of these before,
Yeah.
but sometimes it is a good reminder to think about all those things exercise is doing for us. It really is, as Jack said, kills many birds with one stone, to extend that metaphor. So it is well worth doing. Now, how much exercise should you do? What exercise is the best exercise?
Yeah, so we want to focus on 2 types of exercise mainly: strength training or resistance training, and cardiorespiratory exercise. So we want to focus on getting just the minimum physical activity guidelines met. So all of the national bodies, health bodies will put out guidelines, and most of them say 2 strength sessions per week, okay, focusing on major muscle groups, which is what we preach quite often to our customers and our community members, and then cardiovascular exercise, cardiorespiratory exercise, around 2.5 hours per week. But just think of it as 30 minutes on most days of the week, going for a walk, a cycle, an aerobics class, doing skipping, whatever it is.
Yeah, anything that's getting your heart rate and your breathing rate up. And most of you will have heard of the idea of getting in that cardiorespiratory exercise per week. Most of you have heard the 150 minutes a week or 2.5 hours a week, or you might have heard the 30 minutes per day on most days. That's pretty common. But in our experience, the 2 strength training sessions a week is what less and less people are doing. And there is data to back that up. So those are the big focus. It's getting those basic fundamentals right. And you don't have to be hitting those marks now.
If you're Small amounts are great.
Exactly. If you're someone who's not meeting those minimum physical activity guidelines at this stage, we want to encourage you to take small steps towards building up to that level. It's not about suddenly tomorrow doing your 30 minutes of cardio and a strength session when you haven't exercised for weeks, but it's about building up towards them.
Yeah, absolutely. BMO, 9 out of 10 adults 65 and over don't meet the current physical activity guidelines. 9 out of 10.
We're optimistic
87%.
that we as a society can do better than that. So.
Yeah, for sure. Lastly, just do more physical activity throughout the day. Take the stairs, garden more, walk to the shops. Those are the kind of incidental activity that we might talk about. Brody, the second pillar of health that we'll talk about is diet or nutrition.
Yeah, and there's, again, so much information out there, a lot of it conflicting. There's always the latest fad diet or the latest trend. I'm sure you've seen many in your lifetime trends come and go. We're just going to focus on a couple of basic things today that are important for good health.
For sure.
And the first thing we're going to talk about is protein intake, because it is something that is often underdone, especially as you get older. You need more and more protein. It's important for strong muscles, but also many other cells, organs in our body, as well as bones.
Every cell in our body.
Pretty much everything is built from proteins, and so it's not just about having big muscles, but it's about giving your body the fuel that it needs for everything.
Yeah, and 50% of our bone mass is actually made up of proteins.
Yeah.
Now, Brody, why do you need more protein as you get older? Well, because you don't synthesize. Your body actually doesn't take in as much protein from the food you eat. So guidelines will often say about 0.8 grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day. So if you were 100 kilos, they'd estimate having 80 grams of protein. But that's quite low when you look at the evidence. The evidence shows a range, but we're just going to jump right in the middle of that range of 1.5 grams per kilo of body weight per day. So Brody, if you're 50 kilos, that looks like 75 grams of protein per day. If you're 70 kilos, that looks like 105 grams of protein per day.
So we think take your body weight in kilograms, times it by 1.5. For most people, most older people, people over 50, essentially, that's about as much protein as we should be aiming for. And so,
for sure,
look at ways to get more protein into your diet.
Yeah, a couple of extra eggs here or there, maybe looking at some lean meats, or if you're vegetarian, some nuts here, tofu, all those types of things. Now, Brody, the second thing would be to avoid processed foods where possible. We know that
particularly the ultra-processed foods.
Yeah. So we're thinking of things where you don't actually know what's in it because you can't recognize the food at all. So lots of packaged things.
And those things are fine in moderation, but generally the healthier diets are more whole food based as opposed to ultra-processed food based. So we all eat ultra-processed food from time to time. It's unrealistic to think you're going to avoid that forever, but generally a diet that's high in whole food sources is going to be better. And really, when it comes to nutrition, it can be as simple as that. Those are the main things. It's just trying to eat a whole food diet, make sure you're getting enough protein in particular, and you're generally going to be pretty healthy.
It's going to try to limit our body weight if we do have too much, because we know that excess body weight can cause lots of problems. Excellent. So that's our second pillar of health. Chuck in the comments if you think there's anything we're missing. We've obviously still got 2 more to come, but tell us what you think your pillars of health are when it comes to sticking to things. Now, just briefly, if you are on our YouTube channel or Facebook right now, make sure you like or subscribe to our channel so that you can keep getting these videos and any of the posts that we have, folks, because, we really want to keep delivering you the goods. Okay, let's move on to number 3. What is it, mate?
Sleep.
Okay.
Sleep is very important for our health.
Important it is. We die without it.
Perhaps more important than some people realize. And there has been, I would say generally, there's been a bit of a trend in the last few years for sleep. Yeah, sleep people to be a bit more aware of sleep, people talking about sleep. And I think that's a good thing. I think as a society, sort of globally, we should be paying more attention to the quality of our sleep.
For sure.
But, you spend, nearly a third of your life sleeping. It is very, very important. A lot of important functions are going on while you're asleep. We're not sleep experts per se, but we do know a little bit about it. And we're just going to suggest a few tips that if you're someone that struggles to get good quality sleep, here are some tips you can try that may help.
Yep. So maintaining a consistent sleep and then wake time. So that's really good for your circadian rhythms or your body cycles. So let's just say I want to go to bed around, 9 p.m. every night. And then I'm waking up around 6 p.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever it is. But maintaining similar sleep and wake times is really important for your body.
Yeah. Another thing to loop it back to our first pillar is exercise. Exercise does help with sleep. There's quite a bit of research on this, taking groups, getting them to increase their exercise and looking at their sleep quality, and it does make a big difference. So particularly exercising during the day is going to help you get a better, more productive and restful sleep that night.
Yeah, because you're more tired, you've increased the pressure of wanting to sleep, and then you're more able to get to bed. Avoiding alcohol before bed and caffeine before bed is really good. That stuff can stay in your system. Caffeine can stay up for up to 9 hours. But trying to avoid in the hours leading up to bed, alcohol and caffeine, and then putting all that together, creating a calming sleep routine. So every night, maybe not having 3 glasses of wine and listening to heavy metal music, rather have a calming
sleep. Is that what you do?
I do not do that. No, I like my classical music, Brody. Although I don't mind wine.
So a calming, relaxing sleep space is really key as well.
Great. Now, Brody, we're about to move on to the 4th pillar, and we'd love to know what you think. We've already got a couple of comments here, Brody. I'd love to know what you think our 4th pillar is going to be.
So we said exercise, nutrition, and sleep. And there's a 4th one that we think is really important. So let us know in the comments what you think it might be, and we'll get onto that in a moment.
Brody, there's some comments here. We'll just shout out some people. Catherine's joining us. She says, thanks, fellas. No worries. April Jane says, thank you. What are your thoughts on the rebounder? So that's like a mini trampoline.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're great for exercise if you enjoy them.
Yeah, totally. The best exercise is the one that gets done, is a bit of a saying we have. So we think finding any exercise that is beneficial. Now, a rebounder would probably fit in the cardio aerobic style exercise. That's something you want to accumulate a lot of minutes of. It's not going to be as good for bone density and building strength. Really doing resistance exercise, particularly lifting weights, is the best for that. But certainly rebounder can be good exercise.
And Linda has jumped on and said, enough sleep. She was guessing the 3rd one. You got it right. Absolutely. And Amanda says she didn't realize 150 minutes until she started. Be Mobile was the minimum recommended target. Does the whole 150 minutes need to be 8 out of 10 intensity? No,
not 8 out of 10. So that 150 minutes is what we call moderate intensity aerobic activity. So that's more like a 6 out of 10.
A brisk walk.
Maybe in the 5 to 7 out of 10 range.
Brody and I could maintain a conversation, but we're, just getting a little
bit out of breath.
8 out of 10's like...
8 out of 10's you're going for it. 8 out of 10 is like, like a professional athlete during a game type thing where they're really breathing heavy, pouring sweat right in the face.
Apologies for my acting there. That's shocking. Linda asked about low blood pressure. Any tips? That would be something I think you should take up with your doctor.
Yeah, we can't give too
There's not lots of research around low blood pressure, unfortunately.
People with low blood pressure, basically, within reason, as long as you've had it checked out with your doctor, should just live life as normally as possible. You should still be getting exercise. You should still be getting good sleep, good nutrition and stuff. But there's no sort of answer we can give you now to particularly address that.
Yeah. And then we have some great guesses here. Amanda says pleasure, fun activities. Linda says less stress.
Yeah, stress, yep.
Okay, Kate says laughter and love, and Michelle says social interactions. Guys,
they're wonderful answers.
They're wonderful answers because our final pillar,
and they
of
all
health,
kind of fit in with what we've put for this fourth pillar.
Yeah, is going to be support or community.
Yeah.
So all those things come from that: less stress, pleasure, fun activities, laughter and love, social interactions. Yet being social,
we are social creatures,
is so important. Brady, there's a lot of research coming out about like loneliness and the impact on health that has, especially during COVID. That was really pronounced. But what we know is that it's important, as you said, we're social creatures. Even if you're an introvert, it's very important to get out there and be amongst the people to a certain degree, whatever's comfortable for you. So joining local clubs, whether that's a swim club, whether that's a bridge club, whether it's a bowls club, I don't know, whatever it is, or joining an online community. Like we have a huge online community that's really actually quite close knit for the amount of people that it is for our Be Mobile programs. That's also a good thing.
That's one of the advantages of the internet and social media. For some of the problems that it does have, for sure, there is also some really wonderful positive that can come out of that as well. As we're able to be more connected than ever before in many ways.
So surround yourself with family and friends. Use support networks because if you don't, life is just always harder by yourself. So
for sure.
Do that. Now, Brody, Amanda has said, speaking of love, how's married life treating you?
It's wonderful.
Is it no different?
It's no different, but it's equally wonderful.
He's got a ring on his finger. And April says, thank you. I appreciate your page and vids. Absolutely no worries. So hope you enjoyed our 4 pillars of health. That is the one simple trick that you can put into practice is just do the basics. Stop looking at the shiny objects and do the basics well before moving on to anything else.
And we will also say, no one is saying this is easy to do.
No.
It's simple, but it's not easy. And that is the difference. And we do appreciate and acknowledge that difference for sure. Now we do, for those of our online members, which some of you watching might be online members, we do our live education segment every week, and we go into a bit more detail on some of the things. So today's one was a bit of this one that we're doing live to YouTube and Facebook now is a bit of a recap, a bit of a snapshot of what we did last week as our sort of member live show. Yeah,
absolutely. So we hope you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to seeing you next week at 3 p.m. On Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, and if there's any other content you'd like to see us cover as well, we always welcome suggestions in the comments so we know we're providing information that you, our audience, find useful. So thank you for that.
Cool. See you later, everybody.
Bye for now.